Just a tutorial today on shadowing and lighting in Photoshop. The maximum size it can be is 900 width and 250 height. Okay, so that'll bring up the document, and to double click the background to unlock it is you import, what am I doing? File open, and you just import one of your mug shots. That looks good. And what you do is, I'll zoom in a bit. If you can see this really jagged edge, even if you're 100%, which is Control 1, is 100%, you can just see the jags around the edge. And what you do is you hold Control and click on the little icon here, and it selects the outside. And what you do is you hold Alt, Control, and then press R, and that brings up Refine Edge. And what you do is, if you notice it's smooth around the edge now, is you mess around with these settings to get the desired effect you want. A bit of feather, contrast, normally leave that at 33 or 30, whatever. Done 2.6 is alright for that. Shift edge, this is the main one, how much you want to cut out. And depending whether you've got like a little monkey there or something, shift edge, like this is a pretty basic one, you can shift it quite a lot. That's alright there. And so you have that, and then you just delete this layer. And then this one, just drag it into this. I found that with these ones, if you hit Control T, that'll make you be able to resize it. If you click this button here, it looks like a paper clip. It means that you can't deform it as much. You can't deform it. If you click that, it'll stay to the same restraints. Anyway, so let's just lock that and make it a bit bigger. Anyway, so you got your background layer. I might make that the color of the Battlefield Heroes thing, which is just a light grey. It doesn't really matter what, just a light grey will do, because then if you set it to transparent, that's what will come up. So here we have the muggy. Alright, so I might increase it even more. Holy crap. So you can see what's happening easier, like that. So what you do to do let's do lighting first. Actually, to make it easier, to get the basis of it first, what you should do is you should create a light source yourself. So just get your brush tool, get say a yellow for the sun or whatever you want. Make it a circle. Do that. Yeah, let's just say that's your light source. Okay, so that's your light source. Alright. And so the back of him will be in light, and the front of him will be in a bit of shadow because it's coming towards his back, sort of thing, if you can get what I'm saying. So what you do here is you create a layer above the mugshot layer, you right click it and say create clipping mask. This means that no matter what you do, it will stay inside the mugshot. Like, even though I'm drawing around here, out in the side, it's not doing anything. It'll only draw over the mugshot. So what you do is you swap it to a white brush and bring up the brush settings. Just make it a normal brush, but make the hardness, take it all the way down to the bottom. So you have your brush. You can just increase the brush size normally. And so what you do here is you just paint where you think there'd be a light source, because it's coming from behind. It'll just be on the edges of him, sort of thing, towards his head, and maybe just a little bit around there because it's hitting his back, sort of thing. And once you've got that, and it doesn't look too crash hot and you're going, what the hell is he doing? But filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and you just mess around with these settings, and as you can tell, the shadowing is doing whatever you want. Now this varies for everyone. The more you do it, the less you can tell, sort of thing. But if you just do it to about, I don't know, for my one, there looks alright. You still got a nice light source on it. Might make this background color a bit darker so you can see it more easy. Got the back, and always what you can do is just click back on the layer. Just get your eraser, lower the opacity and the flow. Alright, and just do that, and it gets rid of a bit of the lighting because the blur made it go over parts that you don't want it to. So if you just lower the opacity, it doesn't completely like erase the whole thing. It just gets rid of parts you don't want it to. Alright, so that's the lighting. You can go into a lot more detail than that. Like if I was doing it proper, I'd be doing the lighting a lot longer. It'd be a lot more smooth around here, but you get it. You just adjust the Gaussian blur. And what you do is you create another layer above the lighting one. Create clipping mask again, because it's all linked to the main mugshot layer. And instead of using a white brush, use a black brush for the shadows. So practically, the whole front of his body is going to be in shadow. So, and there, front of his face, it's all going to be in shadow because that's the light source. So yeah, a bit dramatic, but what can you do? You filter, blur, Gaussian blur again, and as you can see, it's a nice shadow. That's just quickly, but you can just tell if you took more time, you could get it more done. Like the white, put it on with a bit more, you can actually see the stroke. You shouldn't want to see the stroke. It should be a bit like the black. So that's lighting and shadowing. Just mess around with that more and more to get the desired effect you want. If it was front on or whatever, you would swap it around. And when you get really technical and the light sources say coming from above, over here, alright, just delete these layers, create a new one, create clipping mask. What you do is you get the fine details. This is what really makes your signature look 3D. What you do is you just get the top of grenades sort of thing, and just the top, and just Gaussian blur that. It's always Gaussian blur, good old Gaussian blur. And I did a too bigger stroke there. A smaller brush would have been good there. And to get really nice, you do little black shadows. So you get tiny little brushes and you just go under here and around here and under the belt buckle. That gets really, really refined. It brings out a, like really high definition sort of thing. And you barely have to Gaussian blur that because it's that small. If you see that, it just brings out a nice 3D effect. So yeah, again, that was Control 1 to go to 100%. So that's mugshot editing. What other thing was I going to do? Okay, and just create a text. What you do is you click on the one below the marquee tool, the polygonal, and make sure you rasterize. It'll ask you to anyway. And just click it, double click, delete. And you get jagged edges. So click once, click again how far you want it in, click again, and then just double click anywhere and it does that. Delete, and it takes out a chunk